All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time it is to talk about transfer rumors. That's right, through to Eagle Eye, where I talk to you about transfer rumors. Let me repeat that again for the cheap seats, because I got into a dispute yesterday with someone who's been listening to me a while, and you would think would know how we do this now. Transfer rumors. I mean, I'm not necessarily telling you what is true and what isn't true. I'm telling you what's out there, because inevitably someone in the chat room will ask me what I think about that rumor. And that is what this particular show is designed to do, to comment on those rumors. Let me stress that now, because people are hard, they can't seem to grasp that concept. Omar's laughing in the chat room because he knows what I'm talking about. All right, let's go with it. Let's talk about the main story, the star story, and that is Mr. Achraf. Sorry, let me not butcher his name. Mr. Achraf Hakimi, the 21-year-old right back, Real Madrid right back on loan at Borussia Dortmund at the moment. I know it's going to trigger people. I'm going to just say it now. In my opinion, the best right back in the world. 100%. The best right back in the world. Yes, I think Trent Alexander is up there. But if we're all being honest, he is better at one thing than he is the other. Albeit, I still think all round is an excellent right back. Pereira, I think, is a much closer argument to being one of the best right backs in the world. But in my view, it's this kid. And he's only 21. That's the scary thing. 21 years old. This guy is 100% the best right back in the world. To me, there's not even an argument. And we're talking about someone who this season has scored, let me see if I can get it right. He scored 7 goals in all competitions, 10 assists, which, I'm not being funny, for an attacking player, those stats are not the worst in the world. Never mind a right back. This guy is scary quick. When I say scary quick, he was comfortably the quickest player in the Bundesliga this season. Racking up, I think it was 32.5 kilometers an hour. We're talking about quick, like bolt quick. And actually, what is more impressive about him to me than anything else? Defensively, he's sound, you know. I mean, he is what I hoped Hector Bellerin would have been by now. So someone who's not just quick for the sake of being quick, but that actually uses their quickness for good. The amount of times he's been on a 2-on-1 situation and has tidied up amazingly well. He is so good. He is so good. And that's why we have no chance of getting him. Even if Real Madrid were that crazy enough to sell him, surely everybody who isn't Liverpool and Leicester will be in for him. Surely. And even Liverpool and Leicester might consider it. He to me, he's a complete player. I agree with what Mike says. He's a right back predominantly, can play right midfield if you really wanted to, can play left back if you really wanted to. I mean, we're talking about a guy who is I don't often gush over players, but there are 2 players who've been linked with this summer where if we're to break the bank, if the Kroenkes are to find money just to secure these 2 players, I don't care if we don't get anyone else, everybody should be happy, because these are 2 high caliber players. One of them is Thomas Partey, and one of them is this kid. Make no mistakes. This isn't one of old Chig's high prospects that I'm trying to tout as the next Arsenal signing. This is a high caliber player. Quite frankly, someone way too good for the likes of us. But maybe we shouldn't let him know that, or his agent know that. The only reason that this deal may even be maybe a little bit possible is he has 2 years left on his contract. And Clearly, he has some doubts. Real Madrid have obviously been very impressed with his season this season. They've offered him a deal, and he's stalling a little bit. So obviously, that enter Arsenal, enter Chelsea. Arsenal were thought to be looking for a backup right back for Hector Bellerin, but they've said what I said at the very start of the summer is they might actually be looking to replace Hector Bellerin. Take my feelings about Hector Bellerin out of it. Just purely on if you're looking at what he's done over the course of his stay at Arsenal, has he really developed the way anybody? Forget if you don't agree with me. You ask yourself: is Hector Bellerin developed at any type of rate that you thought he would by now? As someone who broke into, who we initially signed as a 16-year-old player, who broke into the team as a 19-year-old player, he's now 24. 25, I can't even remember how old he is, right? Is he anywhere near the type of player you thought he would be? To me, like Redlow said, like Reload says in the chat, he's actually regressed as a player. Whereas this kid, ironically enough, is the player I thought Hector Bellerin would have. Now, I have to be honest and I have to be fair. And again, I'm taking my own personal bias out of it. To be fair to Hector Bellerin, he's had some horrible injuries, and I've said this to Lee, and I've said this to you lot many times. When you get a knee injury, it's very rare you come back the same player. Hector Bellerin's had at least 2 of those. So, is it any wonder that his speed has regressed? He doesn't look like the same player. Maybe in turn that has harmed his development. And like Gunnar Dread says, actually, Ainsley Maitland-Niles, ironically, is the better right back. But to me, when I saw this story, I was like, oh, come on, don't tease me. Don't tease me. This story came from The Athletic, which is the same company that David Ornstein, the guy that so many of you guys trust, regardless. This story came from there about the fact that, Chelsea, first and foremost, are looking at him, and Arsenal are looking at him. Let's really have it right. If this kid is available, like I said, everybody that is not Leicester and Liverpool, who have 2 excellent right backs, are going to be after this kid. This is one of those ones where, to me, I have no problem being a self-sustaining business. This is one of them ones where Stan writes a special check. Cool, just go get him. Just go get him. Go get him. Tell me what he wants, but go get him. And there's a belief that obviously the more the kid is stalling, we know Real Madrid need money. And let's face it, and they snap their fingers. If they really want a right back, they'll get a right back. They know they're not worried about them type of things there. They're looking at the situation and think, listen, if we get a 60 million bid for the kid, let's take it. And quite honestly, I'm so desperate to get the kid on board. Even if that means that Real Madrid say, cool, we need a buyback clause on that though. Or cool, we need a percentage of the sale on that though. Agree that shit. Just agree that shit. Set a price if it's a buyback clause, a good price, like a 80, 90 million pound price. You just agree that shit and then keep it moving. This is an excellent player. Do I think we have a chance of buying him? No. No. I think Chelsea have a better chance. And even then, I don't see him going to Chelsea either, to be honest. But let me tell you something. For all those of you that have been saying, I'd rather Max Aarons. Trust me, you would not with this kid. This kid, I like Max Aarons a lot. This kid is 3 times the player Max Aarons is. He is 3 times the player. And don't get me wrong, I like Max Aarons a lot. I think he'll develop nicely as a right back in his own right. But this kid, we're talking about levels here. This kid is levels. Even if you are a Leicester fan or a Liverpool fan watching this, even you will accept this kid is top 3 right backs in the world. 100%. There is not a doubt in my mind. Oh man, if only. And this is the thing. And you just wonder sometimes what goes through Arsenal's head. And this is why you do have to take some stories with a pinch of salt, because in the same breath, we've gone from being linked to the likes of Jesse Lingard, which I'll come to that story in a second. That's one of the reasons for my opening speech. Jesse Lingard to this, that's like going from a chocolate bar to a Sunday meal, like and a crap chocolate bar at that. So I don't know. We'll see what happens, but man, when I saw that story, I mean, you could tell I'm excited. I've done 10 minutes talking about the same player. So you know I'm excited about him. Do I think we'll get him? No. Will it stop me from being excited? Just like with Thomas Partey, will it stop me from being excited, being hopeful that Arsenal might just say, Rago, let's go and get these two? I mean, between the two, that would cost us over 100 million euros. Deep down, I don't think it's going to happen. Nevertheless, if you wanted to show you are still a big boy team, even if you wanted to show even the likes of Aubameyang, that listen, we're making moves. Stay with us, sign another contract. You watch what we do. This is the caliber of player you need as part of the team. Do I think we'll get him? Time will tell. But I doubtful. Hopeful, but doubtful. But we'll see what happens. All right. I can't put off not talk about this story. So I got into a little row just before I started walking my dog yesterday. I know that's not a euphemism. Literally walking my dog. On the way to the park yesterday, I got into a beef because apparently the story was so ridiculous that I disappointed this person by even acknowledging it. When you guys know, because it's now been on every other publication, funny enough, after I put it on my YouTube, you're going to ask me about it. So I'm going to tell you my thoughts about it. For some weird reason, Arsenal have not ruled out the signing of Jesse Lingard from Manchester United. Yep, the Millie Rocking YouTuber, that's what I'm going to call him, is a Millie Rocking YouTuber. I've said for years, I don't rate this kid. For years, I've got into arguments with so many Man United friends about how good this kid actually is. I don't care how many times he scored against us. We make the worst player look good. So don't judge it by Arsenal games, right? For years, I've been saying how good, how terrible this kid is, right? Us being linked with him is not going to change my mind on that, right? But for some stupid reason, Arsenal are being linked with him. And this story is not going away. It's being repeated and repeated, and I'm getting more. To me, this is much more concerning than Arsenal are interested in Chris Smalling, who I also don't think is good enough. But at least, to me, he's a better player in his position than Jesse Lingard. I don't give a damn. Quote me. I don't care. No, please, no. Honestly, I'd rather keep Mkhitaryan. That is how bad I think Jesse Lingard is. I'd rather keep Mesut Ozil. That is how bad I think Jesse Lingard is. I mean, he is terrible. I honestly think, and it would be a horrible decision to go and get, I don't care if it's free. Never mind spending money on the kid. To go and get Jesse. He is a YouTuber. Stop it. He's an Instagrammer. Stop it. Stop it. Oh my gosh. Please, no. Please. Arsenal, I hope not. I hope not. I hope not. Georgie, I'm not necessarily against that opinion. I kind of agree that we do need some sort of English steel, but not. I don't look at Jesse Lingard and think there is the English steel we need. No, just no. Stop it. Anyway, Jesse Lingard being linked with Arsenal. There's one more story I am going to talk about. Please do stick a like on this video as we go along. Thank you so much for listening to me rabbit on, as you can hear me on my phone. I'm just trying to get the stories up because I do put them on the community posts just so I don't forget. Oh, two more stories I'm going to talk about. That's true. Let me talk about PSG left back Livin Kuzawa. He is the left back, the 27-year-old French left back that's being linked with a whole host of clubs. For those of you who don't know, he's out of contract in summer. For some reason, we're looking at a left back when we have three left backs right now. Obviously, those of you who do know, Saka is desperate to play as a winger rather than a left back. And it's thought to be one of the reasons that his contract is stalling. So I guess in the meantime, Arsenal decided to focus on another left back. To me, I'm worried because I rate Kieran Tierney quite highly. So I don't like the idea we're looking at a left back unless the long-term plan is to sell Kolasinac. If that's the case, no problem. But yeah, so it is pretty interesting. We do seem to be really keen on it. Supposedly, we might be the favourites now because the original favourites were Barcelona. Barcelona were looking at him very, very closely. They wanted him as a backup left back to is it Alba that plays for at left back for them? Because their current backup left back apparently isn't good enough, but they need to sell him. I must admit, I've not necessarily seen what is so great about Kurzawa that Barcelona and Arsenal should be looking at him. But as a backup, okay, sure, maybe he's better than Kolasinac, I guess. I guess that's what we need to compare it, not so much comparing him to Saka or Tierney, but comparing him to Kolasinac, because that's got to be the thought process, right? Why would you spend all that effort and money trying to get Kieran Tierney just to flog him the following season? That don't make no sense. So I've got to believe that Tierney is still in the plans. Maybe he just feels that Kurzawa would be a useful gauge for him. But we'll see what happens. For free, let's be real, any player that's free at the moment is going to be linked with Arsenal. Speaking of free players, let's talk about two more. We'll talk about Willian from Chelsea. Apparently, Arsenal may be favourites. It was thought initially that he was headed to Spurs to reunite with Jose. I think some publications still believe that that's the case. But there's a thought process that he would actually slightly prefer a move to Arsenal. He clearly wants to stay in London. He likes London. And obviously it's us, the scum down the road. And obviously Chelsea, if you want to be in London. And West Ham, I guess. He ain't going West Ham, let's be real. So it's either us or the scum. So apparently we've edged ahead of Spurs. I like Willian, I must admit, but he's one of them players that I like that I don't necessarily want to see join the club. He fits into that category. There's very few players like that. He is in that category for me. I think he's a good player, but I wouldn't necessarily want him to don an Arsenal shirt at the age of 32. You know, I feel like if you're going to give a place to someone in the team, then why don't you just promote Emil Smith-Rowe and tell him to play there? You know, that's my kind of thought process on it. Again, what do you guys think? Let me know. I'm going to talk about the final story, and that is Ryan Fraser from Bournemouth. Obviously, Bournemouth have had a terrible season this season. So much so that there's a thought process a lot of their big stars will go. Callum Wilson is being linked with a move elsewhere. Who's that kid that Lee was banging on about so much the other day? Who's that midfielder? David Young? William Young? I don't know. Someone help me out, man, in the chat. Who's that midfielder, English midfielder in the middle of the park that's pretty good? David Brooks, that's the one. Thank you, Peace. I appreciate it. David Brooks is being linked with a move. That's a kid we should be looking at, by the way. I think we should be looking at that kid a little bit closer. Nathan Ake, only Arsenal were looking at him. He's been linked with a move elsewhere. And then, of course, Ryan Fraser, who's out of contract this summer anyway. Obviously, last season was his was the season where he was absolutely ripping it and killing it, registering 15 goals and like 11 assists, something mad like that. It looked like for ages he was going to move, particularly last summer, and then for whatever reason it just didn't happen. Fast forward to this season, he didn't leave. Hasn't really started that many games, and subsequently has only registered, I think it's 1 goal and 4 assists. So he's not had the greatest of seasons, especially when you compare him, say, to the right back I've just been talking about earlier. Right back absolutely schools him in goal contribution this season. Obviously, he's 26 years old now. He's clearly got some kind of talent, and he's not the greatest dribbler, but what he's very good at doing is he's very good at beating his man and providing goal chances. Like last season, I think he had the most goal chances registered in the Premier League. Like he had the most successful one-on-one take-on attempts in the Premier League last season. Funnily enough, going back to Hakimi, he's had the most one-on-one take-ons in the Bundesliga this season. This is a right back, bro. Like, this is the right back, bro. So, anyway, sorry. I just wanted to further illustrate why I think he's the best right back in the world. But going back to Ryan Fraser, so obviously he's 26 years old, 4 assists. For me, I don't necessarily judge him on this season purely on the basis that how many times have we seen when a player's been desperate to leave a club, he doesn't get his move, he underperforms the following season. Yeah, it constantly happens. That's why I do. That's another reason for me why I sell Aubameyang for if he doesn't agree his contract, because he ain't going to be the same player next season. It always happens. Even happened with Thierry Henry. We know Thierry Henry wanted to leave for Barcelona the season before he actually did. Wenger begged him to stay. He stayed. Now, admittedly, he was injured for a lot of that season, but he went from scoring, I think it was like 28, 29 goals the Champions League run, the year that we did the Champions League run, to the following season, I think he had like 12, 13, something like that. Like it was down. The tally was down the season after. So yeah, I think from my perspective, I still think if you rated him last season or last summer, you should still rate him this summer. My only thing about it is you've seen Saka come onto the scene. Presumably, he's going to play left wing. Martinelli, for me, is a striker, so I don't necessarily see it harming his development too badly, but I get the overall point that when he does tend to feature, it tends to be on that left-hand side. From my perspective, would I buy him? I think it depends for me who we get rid of. So, like I say, I don't include Mesut Ozil on these things because I'm just going to assume he's going to stay until next summer anyway. So, from my perspective, if we can get rid of Mkhitaryan, El Nene, all the deadwood basically. Apparently, Socrates is set to leave. Mustafi is set to leave. Apparently, Kolasinac is set to leave. So, if we can get rid of all of these guys off the books, why not? Put him in there. For the simple reason that I think he can play as a number 10. He can play on the left wing. Probably can play on the right wing. So someone that can maybe challenge Pepe, especially if you wanted to do something a little bit different with Pepe. I think he's an option. So, yeah, I'd consider him for free. £100,000 a week. Yeah, why not? What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. All right, guys. Let me come into the chat and see what you guys are saying. Please, all of you guys. I know you guys did great before I actually came on, and that's why I decided to come on a little early. Please do drill that like button hard for me. That would be great. I am always welcoming of the super chats. Super chats are open. They are always appreciated, and I always reinvest every single penny I get of the money I make generally from the show back into the show, because that's the only way I'm going to improve myself for you. Having said that, the best donation you guys can give me is that like. It helps a long way to the show growing and developing and moving. You know, I think this I don't want to call it the C word. Let's call it the C word because YouTube mad. The C word has affected everybody pretty badly in the sense that YouTube views generally are down because of it. And obviously, as a target for myself, I wanted to try and hit 8K before the season's out. We are weirdly not too far away from that, but if we can just get back on track, get back on point, drill those likes up, Like Squad. I know you're on this thing. Drill those likes up, help the show grow and develop. I hope you guys will continue to enjoy it. This is the first of 2 shows I'm going to do for you today. Remember, the second show is going to be the podcast, which I'm going to try and, I haven't even asked him yet, but the last time I asked him, he said, yeah, cool, just let him know. So me, Ola and Lewis, I've had Lewis on a couple of times. For those of you who don't know, we're going to go on, kick it, just talk about football, some of these stories, generally find things to talk about. So you know how we do. We usually do an hour. So we'll literally kick it for an hour. And then I'll leave you back to the rest of your weekend. So that'll be sometime this evening, especially UK time. I'll announce it on here, on my Insta, which is Guna Eagle Eye, and on Twitter, because even though I don't like the platform Twitter, I do recognize some of you do have Twitter. So I will put it on my Twitter at Colossal Chig as well. As soon as I get the go-ahead from Ola and from Lewis, then we'll know what time we're rolling, and then I'll let you guys know. So yes, I'm really trying to make sure I give as much to you guys as possible, because I do recognize sometimes I do go a bit slack on there. So, but thank you guys so much for watching. Quick shout out to TD Shifts. I appreciate the donation, my brother. Howdy to yourself too, man. I hope you're well. I hope you're safe. Most importantly, let me read a couple of comments on here before I dive up out of here. Lingard can be better than Ozil. Who cares? For real, it's like arguing with someone about the flu and HIV. Yeah, they're both pretty terrible to have, one way or another. One way or another. Yeah, you know what I was saying. What I'm saying, God of Dread, is I know we need English steel. Lingard is certainly not English steel. So the justification for Arsenal need more English players goes out the window when you talk about Jesse Lingard. Is the full point I was trying to make. Arsenal would do it for the likes. Hashtag Lingard signing. Big up Elliot. Hope you're well. He's in the Mickey. I think Mickey's better. Quote me, Ben. I hope so badly we get rid of Mkhitaryan. Even I can't shit on him that badly. I'm sorry. Even I can't shit on him that badly. Now, I'm sure probably someone like Stal, who's a United fan and actually has watched both of them in the team together, will probably have a different view. But in my personal opinion, I actually think Jesse Lingard's worse. I've been saying it for years. 4 years. He's not that good. He's scored a couple of spectacular goals against Arsenal because Arsenal are shit. But that should not be a benchmark for saying whether he's good or not. It can make anyone look good. I would have taken Fraser in a heartbeat last summer. The season he's had, I'd probably give it a pass, not for me. So you judge it on a season-by-season basis, but you're young, so I know why you do that. Me, I'm an old head, so I can see a bit more long-term. And I think you'd be a useful squad player, in my opinion. David Brooks, I'd get in a heartbeat. See, now, if you're talking about English steel, now we're talking. Now we're talking. Sugar's the GOAT. Thank you, bro. I appreciate that. I think Trent is I think Trent is the best right back in the world, and Carl Walker. Okay, everyone has their opinions on these things, I guess. Everyone has their opinions on this. TD Shifts, big up TD Shifts. Good news, good news, folks. My dad is going to be out of the hospital tomorrow after getting COVID-19. Brilliant news, man. I hope you're well. I hope he continues to recover, because this thing does not sound like it's messing around. First of all, I thought it was at least leaving kids alone. I heard that a 5-year-old died from this thing yesterday in the UK. Was apparently the youngest person, at least in the UK, that has died from this thing now. So it just goes to show you this thing is straight up potluck. It's terrible. It really is terrible. Afternoon Chig, does your back four now change with Hakimi? 1000%. I didn't think Hakimi was even an option, bro. But if it's an option, imagine you had Hakimi down one side, Tierney down another side. Let's say Saliba gets up to speed quickly. Yeah, Saliba and Upamecano in the middle. Jeez. That is a young, first of all, that is a young defense, young, energetic defense, but a speedy defense as well, like a defense with lots of speed. That could be real useful. Wow, what a defense that could be. Did you put Thomas Partey in the middle? Oh, shit. Oh, shit. That'd be my dream. That'd be my dream back five if we're including the DM. Then to me, if Leno continues to develop on this season, because to be honest, I think Leno generally, maybe I've been a bit harsh on certain games, so he generally had a very good season. He's had a couple of clangers, but he's been more consistent this year, for sure. I can see why he gets the praise that he gets. No, but TD Shifts, that's great news, man. I hope your dad continues to do well still. They're going to get final check, but if all goes well tomorrow, I hope it does, my guy. I hope it does. Fingers crossed. Keep me updated with that. Keep me up to date with that. Big shout out to your dad, though. Would you take Mazzuni from Ajax? He's a top class. Yes, I know who you're talking about. I believe I would. There are a lot of Ajax players I take. One of your man being one of them. Ziyech being one of them. Oh, man. Still gutted. Oh, of course. If we couldn't make Hakimi happen, then yeah. Like I said, you probably caught this late, TD Shifts. I think that Max Aarons is a fantastic player. Don't get me wrong. And I think he'll get better. But the level of baller that Hakimi is 3 times the player. And considering I think Max Aarons is 3 times the player Hector Bellerin is, you can see what I'm talking about, bro. You can see what I'm talking about. True, man. That back five would be serious, though. That would be serious. No, but you're talking. All right, then I'm talking about the pace generally of that defense. Even if you wanted to say that Saliba is not that quick, though. All right, cool. Upamecano is. He's athletic. He's got good acceleration on him. Tierney is rapid. Hakimi is rapid. So I'm talking about generally the defense is young and energetic and got pace. It's not slow, Saliba. Let's have that right. He covers ground at a decent pace. We have a better chance of Zidane coming. No, I know, damn it. I know. Of course I know. Of course I know that. Let me dream. All right, guys. 3 minutes and I'm out of here. 3 minutes, I'm out. Give you a nice half an hour show, so hopefully you guys have liked that. Would you spend 80 million on Aarons and Aki? Oh, 8 million is a lot, though. 80 million is a lot, though. I don't know about that. I like Aki, and I like Aaron's, to be fair. But 80 million, whew. Probably, Jake, probably. On the balance of things, just because sometimes it's not about what they're valued, it's about your need. And we need a right back to challenge Hector. Or replace Hector in an ideal situation. We need a Nathan Aki, who I think is an excellent defender, even though I'm a little worried about that knee of his. We need that. And I think sometimes you have to pay over the odds to get what you need. No, I wouldn't. Zayat, no, I wouldn't. Would there be a late night with Chick stream? Nope. There'll be a podcast, Omar. That will sometime be probably between 8 p.m. and 9:30, I would imagine, at the latest. That would be for an hour. But like I say, I'll announce that on Insta and on Twitter and on the community posts when I know. Would you take Wanyama? No. I'd have taken Wanyama a few years ago. I wouldn't take Wanyama now. I don't want. I tried to tell people this about when it comes to Pochettino. I don't want none of Spurs' cast-offs. None of them. Thank you, my bro. Appreciate it. One more minute, guys, and I'm out of here. Do you think Messi is the greatest of all time? Yeah. Yeah, I do. Even though he's not moved clubs to prove it, I do get that argument. But I would still say yes. Can you give any quality that are not known? You know what, Joseph? Ask me that question again. I can't think of anything off the top of my... Oh, Canute. Because I don't think he is known. So Canute. I'll go with Canute. The 6'4" centre-back from RB Leipzig. That is, ironically, Upamecano's partner. But for some reason, Upamecano gets to shine rather than Canute. Yes, he is the centre-back that if it was all things being even, that's the one I'd go for. How did I meet Chig? I did a show with Lee once before on AFTV. It's my only appearance on AFTV. And even then, I didn't appear. It was more of a phone thing as opposed to... I did that. Mems was the one that introduced us. If you know Mems on Twitter, he was the one that introduced us. We just hit it off, to be honest. How did I meet Lee? Yeah, Justice. What's with the what is with the spamming? Oh, I hope I've got a point there. What is with the spamming? Mazuni is a better baller. Check him out. Okay, I will check him out closer. 10 more minutes. Nah, I'm out of here. Will I be watching WrestleMania later on? Yep, I watched part of it yesterday. Everything was a bit meh, but the last match, I don't care what anyone says, I thought it was hilariously amazing. I loved it. It was so cringy, cheesy, corny, but it was everything about wrestling that I love. So, yes, I liked it. Chi, can I read your donut? Sorry, brother. Did I miss it? Hold on. Yes, I see it. How do I feel about Diop rumors? Oh, TD Shifts. You didn't watch my show yesterday, bro. That was my last lead story. I like the player a lot. 60 million is 20 million more than I would pay. But I like the player. I think there is still some development to go with Diop. But I like him. And I said in a lot of ways, he might be the perfect person to partner Saliba with, for the simple reason that none of them are necessarily the finished articles, but they're both French, they're both tall, they both can develop at the same time, But the one advantage that my man has over Saliba is the experience factor in this league. And maybe they can just almost develop together in that respect. Because some that's how partnerships are made. You just have that natural bonded development. That's why, to be honest, I think we missed a trick by not playing Holding and Chambers together. Because those two are like proper good friends. I think they still live together. Like both of them have girlfriends and they live together, which is kind of weird when you start entering your mid-20s to still be living with another dude. So yeah, I mean, I think we missed a trick because I think things like that, having understandings like that, especially, and I say this as someone that used to play as a centre back, especially with a centre back partner, you need to have that understanding of when to go and when to stop. That's why, even though I didn't think neither of them were amazing defenders, Mertesacker and Koscielny was an excellent call by Arsene Wenger for the simple reason that they clearly were very good friends off the pitch, and that understanding carried over onto the pitch. And that's why more often than not, they would work very well together. I don't think we've had that since. And that's a lot of our problem. So that's why I like Diop. I like Diop for a few reasons, but that's the main reason that I'd consider a purchase. But that's 60 million? Nah, that shit has to come down. 60 million? Nah. Yeah, I don't blame you, bro. I'm kind of with that, but I do tend to, the one bit of wrestling I do tend to watch is WrestleMania. And that tends to literally be every single year. So it's one part of my childhood I've not broken yet. Best centre-back pairing of all time? Oh, don't make me name Arsenal. It'd probably have to be Ferdinand Vidic, to be honest. I thought that centre-back pairing was amazing. Because I do think Vidic gets too much love as a centre-back. I think he was an excellent defender, but I think most of that was due to the fact that he was playing with Ferdinand, to be honest. So, yeah. Mertesacker was the brains, Koscielny were the legs. 1,000%. 1,000%. You hit the nail on the head. 1,000%. Almost in a similar way to what I've just said about Vidic. I think Koscielny was a good defender because of Mertesacker. And we never got to see the best of Koscielny once Mertesacker weren't there. Whether that was due to injury or whether that was due to Mertesacker's retirement, we never got to see the best of Koscielny since. So yeah, 100%. I think that's an excellent deduction. Where's VP at? Where's my OT at? Would you take Sias from Wolves? Very underrated centre back. Relatable to Diop and cheaper. You reckon it'll be cheaper? I'd rather Bola or Connor Cody, to be honest. But I see your point. It's sad because I used to love watching it when I was young. Would you take Rashford? Nope. Never rated Rashford that highly. I think he's decent, but I feel like no. Yeah, to be honest, as much as I would love laughing at Mustafi, I don't think it's just the Mustafi thing. But I do think being paired with Mustafi didn't help because actually, taking aside from the fact that Mustafi likes going to the ground more than he does, I think they're similar players. They're players that like to be dictated to in terms of if you pair them up correctly with someone that can tell them where to position themselves, they'll be fine. But because they're both reactors and they're both rash reactors, it's just a disaster waiting to happen. Whereas for all my faults of David Luiz, clearly there's some kind of intelligence there because I feel like he's pretty good at talking to Mustafi. He's just not good at necessarily doing his role. That's my issue with him. caught you today. I'm just coming off 10 rules, man. I'm just coming off. You need to unclick that notification button and re-click it. I think everybody needs to do that because YouTube are moving mad when it comes to notifications. So if you unclick that notification bell and click that notification bell, I promise none of you will miss it because YouTube keep protesting innocence. And I know that there is something going on. Yes, please, Rich. That's my guy from day one, Mr. Rich Franklin. All right. I said I wouldn't do 10 minutes extra, and I've ended up doing 8 minutes extra. So we'll do 2 more minutes, and then we're out. Chig, centre back. You think Arsenal would reasonably get? Reasonably, I think there's a good chance we could get Nathan Ake on a reasonable price if Bournemouth get relegated. And there's a reasonable chance of that. Yeah, my brother Hakimi would be a beast. Get rid of Kolasinac and Bellerin and even Lacazette to build a solid defense first. Funny enough, I've just been talking about that, South. I've literally just been talking about it. You must have come in late, bro. Must have come in late. All right, let me start to do my plugs before I get up out of here. Remember, I am back on later tonight. I'll be doing a podcast with Lewis and Ola. So make sure you catch that out. Notifications is your friend for that. So make sure they turn on for that. For those of you who also don't know, I have a movie channel called Chig Flicks. The link is in the description below. Guess what I did? 2 reviews that are on there live right now. Make sure you catch those. I'm going to do a 3rd one. I said I was going to do 3 for you this weekend. I'm going to do it on Monday. So listen, the way I see it is I'm spending time with my girl at the moment. I don't want to take the piss. So let me push that back. I'll put 2 on there. So I'll do the 3rd one on Monday. So make sure you do catch that out. For those of you who keep asking me MMA questions on my MMA channel, me, Ola, and Will, we did a show on Friday. We do a show every single Friday. We literally dropped one this past Friday. It was a good little hour debate once again about the Khabib situation. Go check that out. Almost on 100 subscribers for that. So let's see if we can push towards 200. Speaking of which, we are on 157 subscribers for Chig Flicks. So again, let's see if we can push towards 200 subscribers. Speaking of subscriber counts, told you I'm going to be plugging. We want to push towards 8,000 subscribers for this. So let's see if we could do that. Oh, no, we are back again. So I don't know what I honestly don't know what happened there. So let's see if we can get back towards that goal. I think I've pretty much covered everything else. Insta is on. Sorry, let me highlight that and then highlight that off. Insta is that. So Guna Eagle Eye. Make sure you follow me on there. At Colossal Chig is my Twitter. The links to both should be in the description right now. I think I've covered everything, right? I've covered everything. All right. Let me not get carried. Sorry, let me not take up any more of your time, guys. Let me get up out of here. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Take care. Peace.